Hello YouTubers, welcome to Dreamworld Observatory. I'm Stan Baum and I'm your host for Backyard Astronomy. We're going to continue our discussion on stargazing. This is the beginning of all about astronomy. Whether it doesn't matter if you were looking with binoculars or just looking at the sky or trying to use a telescope. You need the basics, and this is what we consider the basics. We suppose already have gotten some star charts, and we should have gotten a planisphere at this point. Today I want you to learn how to use a planisphere. Now the star charts, getting back to the star charts will help you learn all the constellations, and it'll even help you find some things on there like galaxies, clusters and nebula and things like this that you're going to be trying to find. But when you go out into the field, knowing what the constellations are and the objects that you want to look for doesn't show you exactly where they're at in the sky. That's where the planisphere comes in. And we looked at this planisphere. I'm going to show you some things about this planisphere that's going to help you out in the field. Okay, I have the planisphere here, and I've got it mounted to the wall so we can actually see what it does, and you won't have to see me while we're doing it. This particular planisphere it's called the Guide to the Stars, and it's for the northern hemisphere, and it's for latitudes from 30 to 60 degrees north. That should pretty well cover you here in the United States, mostly. This is considered to be two pieces that revolve around each other. Now, this is the outside ring, and this ring is considered to be the dates. It has all the dates and has the months of the year and all the dates. The next ring is just a pointer, and it's time. It goes from midnight to noon, a 24-hour time, so it goes all the way around. You'll notice you got noon here, then it's 1 o'clock, and this right here will actually be 12:30. Now, the way you use a planisphere is very easy. It looks a little complicated, but no matter what brand you buy, they're going to pretty much operate the same. Now, they're going to have some extra features, like this one here has a lot of features considering on the back. But you do not need these features to use the planisphere. They're just gravy. And there's stuff to help you kind of remember some things like the names of the planets and stuff. And we'll talk about them a little later. But first off, what we need to do is we go outside and we need to pick a night. We're going to say, let's look at October. Since I'm standing here at October, let's look at the 25th. So we're going to go outside on October the 25th. So now if you look at this planisphere, it says to follow the instructions. It says 1, 2, and 3. Now here's number 1. It says to align the two circles with your observing time and date. And number 2 is you pick whether you want to look north or to look south. We'll discuss that when we get there. And number 3 would be to hold the star chart up, or the planisphere up in the air, and it should be above your head. And this point right here is not the center. This point is actually Polaris. The center that's going to be above your head is actually between these two horizons. This being the north, the south, the east, and the west horizon. Somewhere about halfway up this meridian, this is the line that joins the north and the south. If you can see that, there's a line that runs all the way down, and that's the meridian. It runs straight from south all the way up to over your head and back to the north. The point above your head is called the zenith. That's the point where the meridian passes between north and south directly overhead. So what we're going to do is, first off, let's say today is October 25th. So here's October 25th, and we're going to go outside somewhere around 9 o'clock tonight. So we're going to point this on the 25th at 9 o'clock tonight. Now, the next thing I need to do is decide whether I want to face north or south. Now, you can face east or west, but it's a lot easier to face one or the other. If we face south, that's the way most people normally do it. And then you raise it above your head, somewhere in the middle, somewhere between north and south, right dead above your head. It's going to probably be Pegasus. Now, don't use this as a top. This is Polaris. If we turn this around and faced, let me see if I can get this to turn, and face the north. Now we're facing north. If you look above your head, somewhere halfway between, it's still right at Pegasus. The deal is, if you are looking south, you will be seeing this ecliptic. And on the ecliptic, if you remember, is where the sun travels and all the planets and the moon. So now if you're out at night and you do not want to look at anything involving the moon or the sun or planets or anything like that, but you're interested in the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper and all, the thing to do is to face north. You turn around and face north, and there's the Big Dipper. And of course you can find the Little Dipper and some of the other stuff. Now you will see them. Now the reason you won't see the planets or anything is because, remember, here's overhead. The ecliptic, if there's a planet on that ecliptic, will be behind you. You'd have to turn over and just about fall over to ever see it. So, but if you're actually interested in what's on the south, in the southern sky, and that's where I use it pretty much, unless I got something really going on in the north and I'm really looking for something, I'm going to be looking at the south. Okay, so now we found how to set it, so we've got all that going, and that's pretty much all you really want to do. Now when you go to line it up overhead, the way you line your patterns up, if you'll look at these, and there's a little chart here that shows this big dot to be the brightest star of magnitude -1 to 0, and then it gets smaller. Now this is a bright one, it's a magnitude 1 to 2, and then it goes right on down. Most of your constellations that you're going to see on the ecliptic are going to have some bigger stars on them. There's one there. But find these big stars when you're looking up. Now remember, if we're looking south, this is the ecliptic, and it's going to be about anywhere from 35 to 40 degrees, depending on where you're at, right up above the horizon. If you look right up along there, you'll find big stars. Find those on your Planisphere and use them as a guide. Now remember, the constellations you were supposed to be looking for were the zodiac constellations. They will be along this ecliptic, somewhere along in there. Now some of the others that you'll be wanting to look for will be out in here. Now these are not really what they call, they're not full constellations. They're combinations. Usually there's two things that make them up. Like look at Pegasus. Pegasus is this thing here. Pegasus is a horse. But this big 4-star part right here is called the Great Square. The legs of this horse, now this horse is upside down. Here's his head and his front legs and his rear legs. These rear legs form what they call Andromeda. So you see that those are not just like what they call Gemini, Aries, and all, which are really one thing. Leo is one thing. But all of them along the elliptic, along the galactic curve, will be what they call the zodiac constellations, and it will be a true constellation. All the other ones are usually combined. Now basically speaking, that's about all you need to know to use a Planisphere. It's pretty straightforward. Now this one has some interesting information on it. Here's a deal right here. If you happen to be looking north, you can find the North Star, which would be this point right here, by lining up the two stars on the Big Dipper, and it points straight to it. Now you can also use the handle and follow an arc all the way down. You'll come to Boots, which has a big star in it, right on down to Virgo, which has another big star. So that's how you would use the major constellations to find other things in the sky. Now if you happen to be looking say at Pegasus, and you say, well, I think Andromeda Galaxy is around there. But Andromeda is right here, part of Pegasus. But if you'll look right there, there's M31. That's the Andromeda Galaxy. Now, all along this chart, there are going to be some things that you can look at. Now, just remember, this Planisphere has all those star charts in it. So all you need, and it's plastic, all you need is this to carry outside with you. Look at your charts and kind of learn this stuff, but take your Planisphere out into the field to use. Because the easiest thing in the world to do, we go out, say, 2 weeks from now, and we want to go out at the same time, we can come up here and move this to here. Notice the sky changed. Still looking south. That's the way it would be. Okay, one last thought about the Planisphere. There are 88 constellations. On this Planisphere, you're only going to find 71. The reason for that is that this is the northern hemisphere. If you were to get one for the southern hemisphere, and of course the count would be different. But the other ones that are missing on here are only visible through the southern hemisphere. Now on the back, you'll find some other interesting things, and none of these are required for you to use a Planisphere. They're just like gravy. Every company who makes a Planisphere will have their own stuff on here that they want you to know about. For instance, this one has some ideas for you, some key points for your first nights out. It also has some telescope and binocular objects that you can find. The Messier objects are listed as 110 of them. There's also the phases of the moon, and there's one list here is a chart for all the planets in our solar system and the planetary data. Now, one interesting one over here I'm sure you're going to like is the meteor showers. It lists all the meteor showers that we have during the year, and it will list what date they are and the constellations you can find them in, and the rate of what you'll see, like how many, like 20 an hour or 50 an hour. There's one over here that can go as high as 60 to 150 an hour. Anyway, those are some interesting things that you can actually see on your Planisphere. This is going to conclude our series on stargazing. If you've enjoyed it, I hope you have. Please select like below and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any comments or any suggestions that you would like for us to do a video on, please leave them down below in the comments. Just scroll right on down and you'll find a section called comments. If you have a question, just put the question in and I'll see if I can get back to you. So until the next time, keep looking up in clear skies.